I don't have too many favorite talk show hosts, but of them all, the one who definitely ranks the highest for me is Conan O'Brien. For 28 years, he has entertained viewers with his wacky routines and unpredictable interviews, and brought so much energy to the late-night format. He's certainly faced his fair share of difficulties, but he always bounces right back up. So I'm going to celebrate his career and talk about what makes Conan so funny. Of course, before he walked onto a television stage almost every night, he was just a writer, pitching ideas to Lorne Michaels on Saturday Night Live. One of his most famous sketches was The Girl Watchers, centered on a couple of catcallers. The sketch brilliantly flipped the concept on its head by having the men be completely self-aware about how undesirable they were. Another sketch he wrote was Mr. Short-Term Memory. This one is based on the simple premise of a man with short-term memory. With these, O'Brien seemed to master the art of taking really simple and stupid ideas and getting comedy gold out of them. Curiously, both of these sketches had the participation of Tom Hanks, who would eventually become a longtime friend of O'Brien's. Imagine being a novice writer on one of the most popular comedy shows on television, and they decide to have Tom Hanks perform your material. Not a bad way to start. After leaving SNL, he was hired to work on The Simpsons, and brought his unique sensibilities to that enormously successful animated series. The most famous episode he wrote was Marge vs. the Monorail, which was willing to go to outlandish extremes with its jokes. I think it's definitely among the most memorable episodes of the show, complete with a Music Man-style number. Another popular Simpsons episode written by O'Brien was Homer Goes to College, which had a lot of fun with Homer trying to get a university degree. A graduate of Harvard, he brought some of his own experience to the depiction of college, resulting in plenty of inspired jokes born out of Homer thinking Animal House is accurate. O'Brien also came up with the ideas for the episodes Lisa's Rival and Marge Gets a Job, and contributed to the fourth installment of Treehouse of Horror. It was during The Simpsons that O'Brien's life would change forever. He was recommended to be David Letterman's replacement on NBC's Late Night, and after an audition he got the job. His first few years did not score the biggest ratings, and he came very close to being cancelled a number of times. However, his audience gradually grew, and even his initial detractors began to appreciate his hosting duties. Like he proved on The Simpsons, O'Brien was willing to try any wacky concept to get a laugh, and with the help of his head writer Robert Smigel and his sidekick Andy Richter, the series eventually got into a nice rhythm. Thanks to his improvisational skills, Conan is really good at thinking on his feet whenever a guest and other event throws an unexpected curveball his way. The back and forth with Richter has always been a highlight. From the minute he walks on stage, Conan is full of energy and seems to show no signs of getting tired. I think he also succeeds at walking that thin line of being full of life without becoming overwhelming. He helped develop a number of humorous sketches that have stood the test of time. Triumph, the insult comic dog, puppeteered by Robert Smigel, proved to be one of the most memorable recurring bits. It's such a ridiculous concept of this dog who feels no shame in insulting others. It's an idea that could easily become too mean-spirited, but it's a credit to O'Brien and Smigel that this pooch ends up being a lot of fun. Another highlight is the remote segment, which Conan hosts a pre-recorded bit of him either in the offices or outside the television studio. He's visited a Civil War reenactment, an old-timey baseball game, the Lucasfilm headquarters, the MC gift shop, and even gone around the world. There are multiple laughs per segment, and they're a delight to watch as he jokingly messes about with everyone he meets. One classic recurring segment involves his meetings with associate producer Jordan Slansky. Portrayed as a no-nonsense Star Wars fan with a love for coffee in Italy, O'Brien and Slansky end up a surprising comedic team with their two contrasting personalities leading to some hilarious banter. I've lost count of how many times I've watched and laughed at the coffee machine segment. Beyond his monologue and remote segments, Conan O'Brien is also brilliant at interviews. He takes what would otherwise be celebrity puff interviews meant to promote a new movie and allows the guests the freedom to go nuts. One famous interview was when he asked Harrison Ford about the Star Wars Holiday Special. Ford does a superb job of showing the panic in his eyes when O'Brien mentions it, and there are a number of other interviews where they play off each other really well. It was also always a lot of fun when people like Will Arnett, Sarah Silverman, and Jeff Goldblum would appear on his talk show. Goldblum's rambling nature was an especially good fit for O'Brien's personality, and he proved to be the rare guest to leave him bewildered. Animal trainers would also appear at times, and while this is a normal fixture on talk shows, something always went tremendously wrong on Conan shows whenever an animal arrived at the studio, and the result often produced tears of laughter. Of course, he's done stints outside of his talk shows. He twice hosted the Emmy Awards and was excellent both times. His second stint is especially notable for the brilliant opening where he ran through a number of television series. And then there was his opening monologue, where he made fun of NBC's ratings that year, and even performed a parody of the song You Got Trouble. This is just a hunch, but I think Conan O'Brien really likes the Music Man. Of course, his jabs at NBC during the telecast would prove to be quite prescient, especially this one.
Of course, this year the Emmys are being telecast on NBC. Being telecast on NBC this year, which means halfway through the show, the Emmys will be canceled.
Conan's rise in popularity, notably with the younger demographic, led NBC to offer him the job of replacing Jay Leno as the host of The Tonight Show in 2009. He excitedly leapt at the chance and began hosting the legendary show as promised. And then Jay Leno had other ideas. I won't go over the whole mess, but neither Leno nor NBC came off well, as the network tried to appease both parties with changing time slots and other decisions that undermined Conan. It was probably little surprise that he eventually left NBC and signed a deal to host a new talk show at TBS. Appropriately named Conan, he continued to do all the things he did best. He even started a new series of specials called Conan Without Borders, in which he traveled to places like Cuba, Israel, and South Korea, and brought his unique brand of humor to the travelogue format. A few years ago, Conan got the rights from NBC to upload clips from his former talk shows onto his official website and YouTube channel. As someone who was too young to have seen many of the episodes when they aired, I especially appreciated getting the chance to see these clips. After serving as the current longest-running late-night talk show host, Conan O'Brien decided to end his show and seek out new frontiers. He'll now be hosting a variety show on HBO Max, which will likely give him even more freedom to try out his comedic ideas. It's going to be exciting to see what he does in the streaming space in addition to other avenues he could explore in the future. If the Oscars are smart, maybe they'll finally select him to host the ceremony one day. In any case, Conan O'Brien has been entertaining us since before he even appeared on camera, and he'll definitely continue to do so for many years to come. See you next time.